Today in the crypto space, we see the market getting a small bounce to the upside. Bitcoin up approximately 1%, hitting that $27,650 level, and Ethereum right around that 1650 mark. The rest of the crypto space, the altcoins are pretty much mixed with green and red throughout the market. However, we do have AVAX getting a nice bounce to the upside, up approximately 7.5%. In today's video, I want to talk about the general market. I want to use Bitcoin as a leading indicator, but more importantly, I want to talk about one altcoin, one project that is looking really good right now, and we should be preparing to take some profits, and that project is called Dynex. DNX is the ticker. So you know what, let's talk about the news, let's analyze the charts, and let's strategize to capitalize. Welcome to the channel. My name is Mike, and let's get right into it, guys. If you're new to the channel, welcome. On the channel, we talk about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and all the altcoins, looking for opportunities. Whether we go up or down, bearish or bullish, it doesn't matter. All we want to do is stay one step ahead of the market so that we can capitalize on any of that volatility. And if you appreciate the strategy, subscribe to the channel, click the bell so you don't miss out on any of my future videos, including the live streams at 7:30 Eastern, where we talk about crypto news and price action. Guys, if you have any projects you want me to cover here on the channel, feel free to let me know in the comment section below, or you can hit me up on those socials. The links are in the description. Let's begin, guys. Let's take a look at what's happening here with this market. Bitcoin getting a bit of relief to the upside, nothing drastic, 1.6% give or take in the last 24 hours. Pretty good, not too bad. While Ethereum pretty much going sideways, maybe dripping down type of thing. And at the end of the day, these two heavyweights need to give us a bit of an indication what could be happening in this market, but no real moves happening today. So let's see what's happening. XRP getting a nice bounce, up 5%. That is pretty good, not too bad. You know, seeing XRP wake up a little bit based on the bullish news that the fact is that, you know, the feds are done. Basically, the SEC, you know, the lawsuit, and you know, it was basically dropped, and move on forward for XRP, and the rest of the crypto space is definitely loving it. So let's see what else we got here. Solana going sideways, however, a slow drip to the downside, approximately 3% to the downside. Overall, Solana did well, and that's one of the things that I talk about significantly on the channel. When a project is in double-digit gains and has done very well, and you see it very overbought in the short term, you know, if you want to trade it, that's the perfect time to take a bit of profits, anticipate a dip, and scale right back in with those profits. And that's the way you basically ride the peaks and the valleys, building a bigger bag over time using the profits. And that's the reality of a trader: buying low, selling high. All right, so Cardano coming down as well. We have Dogecoin coming down to those lower levels pretty hard and significantly in a big way. Toncoin coming down as well, a little bit here, a little bit there. We see 2% to the downside. Overall, Chainlink getting a small bounce, but I still feel like, you know, maybe a continuation to the downside is very, very possible here for Chainlink. So we'll keep an eye on Chainlink for sure. What else do we have here? AVAX. Guys, wow, AVAX is like the man of the match today. Finally waking up, finally getting a nice bullish move to the upside, but big picture structure, it is still within a descending wedge. So although I've been rooting for AVAX, you know, on the channel, I talk about AVAX here and there. I try to pepper it in within my analysis because ultimately I want all these layer ones to do very well. And Avalanche, you know, I feel that it's severely undervalued. And if AVAX does get a nice breakout out of that descending wedge, it's looking very bullish overall. So in the medium short term, let's prepare for AVAX. Let's see where it's going to go in the short term. But ultimately, up 8%, 12% in 7 days is really bullish. Guys, I'm going to put AVAX on the list for tonight's live stream. Okay, if you have any projects you want me to cover in tonight's live stream at 7:30 Eastern, feel free to let me know. Obviously, joining the live stream is the best place in time to make those requests, and I'll put your requests in top priority. But in the meantime, I'm gonna get a list going so that, you know, we can basically look for opportunities here. And we see a bit of a dip here on Uniswap, down approximately 1%, and nothing really. HBAR coming down a little bit, making that lower low, not looking good for HBAR. Ultimately, you know, although it's only a 2% dip, the overall dip doesn't look good for HBAR. You know, the way it looks, the structure, not really looking healthy. Although I am, you know, somewhat bullish here. I like HBAR. Let's put it that way. I want to build a position. position. I do a DCA in the H bar. As soon as I see some really oversold conditions, I might consider buying a little bit of a bag of H bar. I want some of that exposure. Quant is another one that I'm interested in, guys. It did come down approximately 2%, but nothing crazy here. Yesterday we talked about Quant live, and I did mention my range. It's still within that buy zone range, and it's still at that 86.50 type of level price tag. So it's still within a decent level of a holding support. You know, it's about understanding that now for Quant, it is a good time to build a small bag, to build a bit of a position. That way, if it does get the bounce, you have some exposure. However, guys, keep in mind, if we break support and do come down to slightly lower levels, we have to anticipate that either you're going to stop yourself out, get out of the position, or DCA at those lower levels. That way you can drag your average position down. You know, right now, if you look at all the momentum oscillators, you look at all the TA, you look at the horizontal level of support, everything is leading us to believe on Quant that it's not a bad time to just gain a bit of exposure just in case. It's all a game of probability. And again, the probability is that here we could get a bounce, and you want to have a little bit of that exposure. So we'll be following Quant. We'll put Quant on the list again tonight for tonight's live stream, just to give ourselves an update. We'll keep a close eye on Quant, because reality is it fell below that $100 level, and for me, getting back to there is obviously possible, it's likely, and it's a lot of people are rooting for it. So I want to keep an eye on that one. VeChain coming down a little bit. Of a lot of these projects are definitely dipping down to these lower levels. What else can we say here? EOS, BitGet going sideways, Tezos, Injective, a bit of a dip here and there, nothing crazy. Radix coming down a bit more, guys. I might deploy, I might buy on Radix. We're going to take a look at XRD for sure tonight. XRD is Radix. I'm going to put that one on the list. That's an important one, because for me, this thing should be bullish. Yes, it did get its upgrade. I forget what it's called. It's some fancy name, but nonetheless, it did get its upgrade, and it's great that it did it. But after the upgrade, look what's been happening. A bit of a dip, a retracement. And that means we're getting back to true value, which means that we could be retesting previous lows. And I'm still fundamentally bullish on Radix. So I want to appreciate any of those dips. We're down approximately 13.3% in the last 7 days on Radix. So for me, that's a perfect opportunity. And you guys know when Radix moves, it does move pretty strong, and I'm ready to deploy the profits that I've taken on Radix, my Radix position, because I did take a significant amount of profits on that high that we had a couple months ago. All right, let's continue. I think overall we can, pretty much conclude the overall consensus here is that the market is dipping down. The market is still kind of sideways, but overall looking for lower levels bit by bit. And Bitcoin has been showing us a bit of strength. Wow, look at TWT, Trust Wallet, getting a nice 15% pump to the upside. Pretty good there. But generally speaking, we have those random anomalies. Of course, Trust Wallet and, the one that we just covered, doing AVAX doing pretty good. But generally, the overall consensus here, guys, is the market is dipping down. Okay, guys, I know you're here to talk about charts. Let's begin our analysis by looking at Bitcoin. What's going on here with Bitcoin? A nice little relief to the upside here on the daily. You can see that candle, trying to get up to higher levels. And we talked about the fact that, it was a bit of a mean reversion play. And what I meant by that was you can see that the RSI looked like it needed a bit of a pullback based on being very, very overextended away from the moving average, the yellow line. And once we got that bit of a dip, maybe this is done. Maybe we start getting into bullish conditions, overbought scenarios. Let's take a look at our probabilities. Let's see what's going on here with Bitcoin. So, overall, I do acknowledge that this is the area to watch out for. I also acknowledge the fact that the price action did attempt to get there, and it got quickly rejected with that wick. Not a strong signal overall. However, guys, an attempt to get to that level once again to get confirmations would be healthy, because I believe this wick was induced by a lot of algorithmic sell orders. A lot of sell orders on exchanges cause the price to quickly sell off, and that's those wicks are indications, and sometimes those wicks are so strong that it doesn't go back. Okay, so I feel like we're going to go back there. I feel like maybe on the 4 hour, we could definitely see some indications that we might want to get back, maybe as high as even the golden pocket 618, which is at about 29,500, give or take. Okay, look left, we got a lot of resistance here that could act as some confluent zones for resistance, but I still feel to expect the daily to get overbought is still possible, and that's the risk you're taking by entering a short right now. On the daily, I'm not seeing it, right? The divergence, are we invalidating it? We're trying to invalidate it. let's zoom in here on the MACD and see what's going on here. As long as the clusters of histogram bars remain downward sloping, whether it be like this, the slope is downwards, we are still intact with this bearish divergence, which means that the price action is moving up, and we in order to identify that divergence, we need to exclude wicks. Okay, the price action is moving up while the momentum on the MACD is slowly losing. It's slowly rolling over. So let's see what happens here with this class A bearish divergence. We need to maintain this trajectory here on the momentum on the MACD, but the RSI is giving us no signal, none whatsoever with regards to bearish divergence. The only thing that we are saying is if you're getting into shorts right now, the risk you're taking is that we get overbought and then you'll get wrecked pretty much. So it's about risk to reward. It's a bit risky right now going into a fresh short. So let's see what's going on the 4-hour lower time frames. We got overbought. We're getting a bit of a back test, a confirmation. We want to see if we create that higher high. You know, in my book, I don't really believe that we're going to get a higher high. I believe that we're going to be looking for a double top, maybe even a lower high, and get that confirmation. And let's see what's going on here. We don't get any bearish divergence even here on the lower time frames on the RSI, which is unfortunate. So it's still very possible that we do make a bit of a higher high. Okay, it's still within that range while we make a lower high on the RSI. That would be class A bearish divergence. So it's very possible that we get to that $29,000 mark and still maintain, you know, that stance that we could be looking for a rollover in the immediate short term. In my opinion, getting into a fresh long on Bitcoin is a bit dangerous, given the fact that the impulse has already started. We're pretty much halfway to a very important level of resistance. The reality is we could come back down 50%. Back up 50%. That's a 50-50 odd, not in your favor. We're here to find an edge, and there's no edge right now in getting into a fresh long. In fact, not even into getting into a short. So let's wait for better conditions. Let's improve our thesis, and that way we can enter a position with a better risk to reward ratio. All right, let's move on here, guys. I know today's video is all about DNX. Let's talk about Dynex. Great project overall. You know, we've been talking about Dynex here for a while. I've been releasing videos, giving you updates on Dynex in the last little while, but I think it's due. Although my last video was 6 days ago, I think we need to give it an update. I did do a bit of a deep dive on Dynex, which is something else that you might be interested in. Go check out those deep dives because they do really help out with those fundamentals. Trying to find it right here, the deep dive on Dynex, if you want to know what it is, what it's about, the value proposition, the team, the overall tokenomics, all of that stuff is covered here in this video, so go check it out. It's a really good deep dive, and if you're trying to get into a position, you really want to know what this project is about, and this video is definitely for you. Okay, let's take a look at this price action, guys, and you can see that overall a lot of the projects right now are doing a very similar thing. I believe Terax is doing a similar thing, and many others getting a deep retracement. However, the momentum not getting a full reset to oversold conditions, and we got a nice bounce. When we got into the chop zone, what I frequently do is when we get into the chop zone, I identify that we're on the 50% mark on the RSI, and I realize, look, I'm not trading the chop zone. However, we could probably look for some support or some entries based on the 4-hour. Because not only can we ride the peaks and the valleys on the 4-hour, which would be these small peaks and valleys, which are not that small if you take a measurement. They're still good valleys, peaks and valleys. Good range could be between 20 to 50%, some of these ranges on the lower caps. And that's the truth. That's some good ranges. But what about if we were able to catch a bottom, which we were able to do? Now you can see that we do have a volume gap below, a weak spot that we attempted to break below. And unfortunately, this buy order did not trigger because of that. However, this one did. And of course, as we were coming down, it didn't look so good. You know, we kind of bounced up and we're like, okay, you know, back down. But if you hold steady and you have confidence in your analysis, overall, you're going to see that you end up in a profitable scenario most of the time, especially if your analysis and your thesis is very objective and it's thorough and you're looking for confluence. Overall, you want a winning strategy. That's the reality. You're not going to win all the trades, but overall, the average trade, it needs to be in somewhat of a decent profit to compensate for your losses. And right now you can see that this trade is definitely compensating for any loss that you may have had. Nice bullish move to the upside. So let's assume that you didn't happen to get in this green arrow, that this was the only position that you were able to fill. And let's assume that it's only worth 50% of your bag, but at least you got some skin in the game, which is great. So 50% position, whatever that value is, if it's $100, you're in with 50. If it's $1,000, you're in with 500. Whatever your position size is, it doesn't matter. It's about the percentages. So let's say we start measuring from here to where we are right now. Guys, you're up 57, 58%. Perfect. This is a great opportunity to consider yourself, a winning trader right now. And if you look at where we are with a price within the price, we're very close to a very important and strong psychological level. The $1 mark is very close, and it's very confluent with the Fibonacci golden pocket retracement level at the 0.618. This area right here is very, very important. It's the very confluent zone. So we're seeing the volume kind of diminish significantly. We enter a bit of a volume gap, a weak spot in the chart. We have the golden pocket right here. We have a previous high, okay, right here. And we can see we're getting a bit of resistance, and we're almost entering overbought conditions on the daily. So what am I saying here? I'm saying is start getting protective, start getting defensive, start thinking about exits, start thinking about taking profit, start thinking about protecting your gains. You got to protect those gains, guys, because the market's going to want to take them back. So on the daily, we're still looking quite bullish, to be honest. The only thing I don't like about this move to the upside is that there's no volume in this move. There's very little volume, none whatsoever. In fact, it's diminishing over time, which doesn't give me confidence that the market participants are interested in getting this thing much higher. So a nice retracement to the golden pocket is super healthy. It's nice. And at the end of the day, you want to be defensive. So on the daily, look at this. The RSI is looking to get overbought. We have a little bit more room to get overbought. So why not? Why can't we go up a little bit higher? It's very, very possible that we potentially, get to higher levels. I like to try to make trend lines out of the momentum, but sometimes it doesn't work out. And you can see that ultimately we're trying to get into overbought conditions, and we can get rid of this for now. No, maybe that's very relevant on the 4 hour. So that's what we'll leave that there for now. The MACD is still facing up. Green histogram bars definitely looking strong still. We got a bit of fake outs with those pale greens. That's why it's very important that you don't act upon the pale greens. You just keep things in mind. When you starting to see pale greens, you keep things in mind. You start put interest in things. You start looking for EMAs. You start looking for your first red histogram bar. So far, none of that is there. We're still facing up, still very bullish on the daily. So basically on the daily time frame, we still could continue up a little bit more. But what is the 4 hour showing us? The 4 hour showing us a bit of weakness, and that's the reality. And by the time the daily shows us the weakness, we will already have seen the 4 hour potentially give us that signal that we need to start getting defensive. And this is why I'm again looking for confluence. On the 4 hour, it's showing us a divergence. Higher highs on the price action. Let me get some lines in here on the price action here. Higher highs on the price action. I'm not going to make it so big. Let me bring it down a little bit. You can see that very clearly. While the momentum based on one top and even this top, we can extend it even further and make the story even richer in this case. Let's kind of do one of these. Okay, so this top and this top, this is class C bearish divergence. Okay, momentum double topping while the price action continues for that higher high. And then all of a sudden, if you start looking at these two tops, which is this one and that one, right, the price action is still moving up, but look at the momentum. We're making a lower high. That momentum is suggesting now we're making class A bearish divergence, which is the strongest type of divergence you could have within a momentum shift. Okay, so this is what we're really isolating now. Good level of horizontal resistance, good level of resistance, and time of a momentum shift on the 4 hour gives you a lot of confluence to suggest that you should be getting protective. Trail up that stop loss, maybe put it underneath these previous lows at this volume gap area, because we usually get some reactions at this area. But also take a bit of profit, skim off the top. That way, ultimately, if we do get stopped out, you're in some heavy profits, and you also did take some profits to amalgamate to your overall winning position. And at the end of the day, that's what you're trying to find here, is a winning trade. So overall, guys, there's a lot of confluence suggesting that we should get defensive. What else do we have here on the MACD? Yeah, histogram bars are coming down. EMAs are also don't look the best, while the price action is coming down. So are the EMAs and the histogram bars. So let me get that in here. quick. You can see, look at that. Both of them are coming down while the price action continues to move to the upside. Now, someone might say, look, we might get a third drive of bearish divergence. It's possible. We got already, a couple drives, 1, 2, maybe a couple more, depending on if you look at these little peaks and valleys in here and this consolidation. But ultimately, guys, this is where you got to get defensive. Golden pocket 618, nice level of resistance, many tops, 1, 2, 3 tops right here, and it's very likely that we should start seeing weakness. Scale out of your positions little by little, the same way you DCA in, you DCA out. All right, guys, I'll see you live tonight at 7:30 Eastern. If I've offered you any value in this video, do the channel a massive favor and slap the like button. If you want to follow me on the socials, the links are in the description below. Feel free to join that Discord, guys. The Discord's a great community, lots of good alpha, trade setup, fundamentals, learning material, and all that good stuff. Take care. See you tonight. Have a good one, and don't forget, buy the dip.